Right, hello, this is Imran, and I'm going to do a lesson today on fractional amounts of. Okay, today's date is the 5th. Now, you'll find this lesson and more lessons on my website, which is www.121tutor.co.uk. Okay, now these kind of questions frequently come up on lots of different types of papers, whether they're Key Stage 2 SATs papers, Key Stage 3 SATs papers, GCSE papers, all types of different levels. These kind of questions come up again and again and again. So it's important that we understand how to do them efficiently and also understand the method of how to do them. It's a very simple method. So let's go through this method. Okay, now the sheet I'm using today is the fractional amounts of sheet which I've designed myself, which you'll find attached with this file, or you'll find it in the section for the lessons. Now let's have a look. The first type of question. The first question is work out 3/4 of 64. Now, what's the method for this? If you call this part here the actual question, because that's the question about 3/4 of this number, you call this part the question. Okay, here's your bottom number. Okay, bottom number in maths is called denominator and the top number is the numerator. But to make things simple for today, I'm just going to use the word bottom number and top number to start, rather than confuse everybody and start using denominator and numerator. Okay, so the bottom number, we call this the top number. Okay, so here's the question. We always start with the question, we divide it by the bottom. That's what that line there means, divide by. So we're going to divide it. So we always start with the number first, 64. We'll divide it by the bottom number 4, and then consequently we'll multiply by 3, because by dividing by 4 you're working at a quarter, because this is 3/4 of 64. In order to work out 3/4, we've got to work out 1/4 first, and that's this purpose here, and then we must multiply by the top number. Okay, so let's do that example then. So we got that. Now the question which we got over there, we're going to put here, the bottom number we're going to put here, and the top number put there. So let's start doing some of the maths. So the question number is 64. We've got to divide it by the bottom number, which is 4. Okay, and then we're going to multiply the result of that by the top number, which is 3, in order for us to work out the 3/4 of. Now 64 divided by 4 will give us a result of, now this part here, I'm not expecting you to be able to do that mentally always. If the number looks a bit hard, this is how we do it. 64 divided by 4 is written like this. Now remember, when you write this short division like this, the first number always goes second, and the second number always goes first. So I'll just put a little, just think of it as the X. That's the X effect. Now, just because it's written first here, it won't be written first here. This is how we convert from this way, because here we're reading from left to right. But when you read this question, it says 64 divided by 4. So you must understand that is the correct way of doing it. If you were to put the 64 down here and the 4 into here, that would be completely incorrect, and that would be wrong. So I'm trying to explain how we convert from something written like this into a short division question, which we should be able to do. Now, 64 divided by 4 is written like this. 64 divided by 4. And the method is, which we should all know, how many 4s go into 6, which is 1, because 4 times by 1 is 4. Now, I've got 4, but they're given us 6, so we have to work out the remainder, how much is left over, so we just take them away. So 6 divided by 4 will give us a remainder of 2. Now the next question is how many 4s go into 24? If you know our 4 times tables, we'll know that 4 times by 6 is 24. So 4 will go into 24 6 times exactly without any remainder. So now we've just worked out what 64 divided by 4 is. 64 divided by 4, we've calculated as 16. So if I write down over here now, 16, copy down the multiply by 3. We don't need the brackets anymore. The brackets are there to hold this calculation together. Now that we worked it out to give you 16, the brackets they can disappear. So we've got 16 times by 3. Now, here comes another calculation. So if we need to again move to one side, and if we need to calculate that, 16 times by 3. Now, that's how it's written at the moment. We can rewrite that as in the traditional way that you do one digit multiplication, one number underneath another number. So we got 6 times by 3. Okay, 6 times by 3 will give us an answer of 18. 1 times by 3 will give us 3. Add the 1 on the bottom, and that gives us 4. So the total answer is 48. Okay, it might look a bit messy, a bit complicated. Once you get into the flow of this, it's nice and straightforward. Because this is actually what we're doing. We're starting with the question number itself. We are dividing it by the bottom number of the fraction to work it out in terms of quarters or fifths, whatever it is. And then the result we multiply by the top, because we've got 3 lots of those quarters. Here we're working out quarters. 64 divided by 4 is working out a quarter of 64. And then we're multiplying by 3 to give us the 3 quarters. And that's how we do each question. When the number on top is just 1, them are the easiest ones, because you just multiply by 1 in that case. Okay, so let's run through this question once again from the beginning to the end, each step. So we had 3 quarters of 64. This here is the method in red. We can, this is the question number. I'll put a circle around it now. This is the question. We get the question, we divide it by the bottom number question, divide by bottom number. The bottom number is here, 4. And then the result of that, we multiply that by the top number, which is 3. So 64, the question, divided by the bottom number, which is 4. And the result of that is multiplied by the top number, which is 3. So literally we are slotting in the numbers. The first number goes here, the bottom number goes there, and the top number goes there. So everything flows into this formula here, or should we say it's like a template. So now we have to actually work out these different, so we've got this different calculation here and here. 64 divided by 4 we've done as a short division, explaining to you that the first number always goes last and the last number in the question always goes first. And we've done this as a short division question. How many 4s go into 6? Well, 4 will only go into 6 once. It will leave you a remainder of 2, because 4 times by 1 is 4, and then 6 times by 4 is 2. So how many 4s go into 24? Which is 6 exactly. Now that we worked out this part here, 64 divided by 4 was 16. We have to then multiply that by the 3. So we rewrite it down over here. 16 times by 3. 16 times by 3. So, well, not many people know how to do that in their head. There's mental method as well, but we've done it in a pen and paper method over here. We wrote the question down in the traditional way. 16 times by 3. 6 times by 3 is 18, carry the 1. 1 times by 3 is 3, add the 1 is 4. So that gives a total of 48, and that's the end of that question. Okay, now, let's do one more question. I'm going to have to rub this example off. Okay, let's have a look at another question. Okay. All the labeling, everything else can stay exactly where it is. So let's put these arrows back on properly. Okay, and let's put the green arrows back on. Okay. Okay, right, now let's go through this question. Okay, now let's have a look at another question from this sheet. We got all kinds of variations of 3/4, fifths and sixths. All those are very similar to one I've done. I want to do one which has the 1 at the top. So let's have a look at the question. 1/6 of 72. Okay, 1/6 of 72. So it's going to be 1/6 of 72. Now, if you look back at this question, we still got the same components. We've got a question, we've got a bottom number, and we've got a top number. The question, bottom number, top number. And that's what we're doing. So now what we have to work as 1/6 of 72. So we start the question, we copy the question down over here. So 72 goes over here. We're going to divide that by the bottom number. The bottom number of the fraction is 6. That will help us to divide in 10 into 6. And then we multiply by the top number. The top number is 1. The most simplest number we can have, multiplying by 1 question. There we go, time by 1. Question, divided by the bottom number, time by the top number. That's the calculation we need to do to work out the answer to this question. Now, 72 divided by 6. You should know that. But let's just calculate it manually just in case. Okay, so if you put, remember, the first item always goes second. The second item always goes first, like an X. That's the method that you must learn if you're doing short division. If you need to calculate it, there won't always be nice simple questions like, 6 divided by 2 or something. Okay, so now we say how many 6s will fit into 7? Well, 6 will fit into 7 once, to give you 6. 6 times by 1, 6. Now we got 1 left over because that's 1 greater than that. So we take that away, we leave you the remainder of 1. So then we say how many 6s go into 12? Well, 6 will go into 12. 12 is in the 6 times table. 6 will go into 12 2 times. So now we've correctly worked out 72 divided by 6, which is 12. And then we got here the time by 1. And the 12 time by 1 is simply, nice and easily, 12. Okay. And that's the easiest question we could do with having the multiply by 1. But the method is the same. We're starting with the question. We divide it by the bottom number. And then that answer we multiply by the top number. So it's the question. Okay, the question divided by the bottom number and then time by the top number. So this one divided by this one, time by that one. And that's basically how we are doing it. The question divided by the bottom number, time by the top number. So in a sense, if you look at it, it's really, we're starting from there, we're dividing by this number, and then we are timing by that number, and that's another way of actually remembering the question. Question divided by bottom number, time by top number. Question divided by bottom number, time by top number. That is the method to doing this kind of question efficiently and properly all the time. As long as you follow this method, I've written it out for you here as a formula. As long as you write this as this method over here, we should be able to do these questions correctly, time in, time out, time in, time out. Now to do further practice, you could do the questions. We have split the exercise into 3 parts, A, B and C. So have a go at those at the end of the session. Okay, I'm putting those over here. Hopefully we can see those. That sheet you'll be able to find attached onto this file. Okay, onto this video file. Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of our lessons. Now you need to practice, and if you get stuck, come back, view the video again, and then I'm sure you'll get all your queries answered. Okay, thank you. That's the end of your lesson today.